In this video, we continue to code our game of crabs, and we'll start by coding the game messages. So I will create another simple void method for that. Alright, so here's my method, and within the method we will use another switch statement, and this time we will evaluate the game status for win, lose or continue. So the first case, let's check if the player wins. So let's create a switch statement, and remember the game status was set in our previous method, the evaluate role. So we now check in if it's the win or lose or continue. So if the case is the game status is win, then we can simply display a message that will congratulate the player for winning. And we can display what the player rolled. So if the player wins, we will say congratulations, you rolled. We will display the number that the user rolled and message that he win. And we can break and do the other case, which is the case for losing. And here we'll do the same thing, except this time we'll tell the user what he rolled and that he lost. And finally, if player didn't win or lose, then the game continues, so we can display the sum of the roll and inform the player that he rolled the point and display the point too. So it's going to be our default. So here we'll display the sum. Remember, over here we display the dice sum, which is the snake eyes or yo11 and whatever, because that's after the first roll. However, here, if the game continues, then we'll simply display the number that was rolled, because there's no special name for it. So you rolled, let's say, 6, and your point is 6. So keep rolling. Alright, next thing we need a game loop that will call roll the dice and call the evaluate roll method and display the message. It'll be a very simple method with a while loop, and within the loop we will loop until the game status is not won or lose. Or in other words, we will loop until the game status is set to continue. So I'm going to create a method and I'm just going to call it play. This time, this one will be public because this one we need to access from our main method when we create the object. So here we will roll the dice and get the sum value and assign it to our sum variable. So here's my variable and I'm rolling the dice, remember from our roll dice class. Okay, after each roll we will increase the number of rolls. So we will use the number rolls and increase it by 1. Next, since we rolled the dice, we can now evaluate what we rolled, which is simple. We'll just make a call to the evaluate roll method that we just coded, where all the evaluation is performed. And finally, we will display the result of the game by calling the display message again that we just coded. Alright, but now, if the first roll did not determine the game, we need to continue playing. So like I said, we will need to do that within a while loop. And we are going to loop as long as the game status is set to continue. So we will do game status as long as it equals to the game status continue, we will loop. So this will be skipped if the evaluate roll evaluates the first roll to win or lose. If it is not win or lose, we'll come over here and keep looping until it becomes win or lose. So as you can see, we are going to stay within the loop as long as the status is set to continue. However, we need to actually code what to do when we keep playing. We need to create a method that will keep rolling the dice and compare the sum of the dice to the point that was set after the first roll. So let's create a method that does that. And I'll just call it keep playing. So here, first thing we'll do is roll the dice and get the sum. So we'll simply call the dice roll method from our class. And after we roll, we increase the number of rolls counter. And now we can evaluate the sum and compare it to the point. If the sum equals the point, then the status will change to win. If the sum is 7, then the status will change to lose. And anything else, and we will continue the game. We can do this evaluation in a simple if statement. So if the sum equals our point, then we change the game status to win. Else if the sum equals 7, then the game status is lose. Remember, we are rolling the dice until we hit the point or until we roll 7. And if we don't do that after this roll, if we don't match the point or we don't roll 7, we'll just keep playing. So else, and the game status will be still set to continue. So now let's go back to our while loop, and remember, we are looping and keep playing as long as the game status is set to continue. So within this loop, we'll simply call the keep playing method first. And the keep playing method will set the status either to win, lose, or continue. And if it's continue, then we'll go back to our while loop and hit keep playing again. So now we can simply display the message again. Based on our status, we will display either the win, lose, or continue game message. And to do that, we'll simply call the display message method. Alright, we're almost there. So what is left is just to go to our main method and wire everything together. In fact, all we have to do in our main method is to create an object of our crabs game class and then simply call the play method because everything is handled within the crabs game class. So let's go to our program and I'm going to create the object, and after the object is created I have access to its public methods, and one of them is play. Actually, it's the only public method that I have. All the others are private. Alright, that's it. So let's run it. And I can already tell you that we will have to come back here and revisit our messages a little. But let me just show you why. Oh, and it seems we have a bug here. Okay, let's figure out what it is. And I think I already know. It's our object of rolled dice. We have it created, but we never actually instantiated it. So let's just do that. Let's just create new roll dice object. Alright, let's run it again. And here is our first roll. So I rolled 10, which became my point. Then I rolled again, and you can see that I rolled null, yet I lost. Now obviously I cannot really roll null, so something's off. Like I said, the messages need to be revised. So let's just do a few more rounds. So this time I rolled 8, so that was my point. I rolled null again, and this time I won. So again, something's definitely off. Let's try again. And again, I won after I got my point 6 and rolled null. So this time is a little different because I won on the first roll because I rolled 7. And this time I rolled number 3, which is tray, so I lost on the first roll. Again, that's a losing roll. That's the rules. And I rolled it again. And now I rolled U11, which is 11, so I won because it was on the first roll. So you can see some of the messages work, some of them don't. So let's just figure out what's going on here. Well, the problem is we actually didn't roll 0. We only displayed that we rolled 0. The thing is, we have to determine when the winning or losing occurred. Remember, there's a difference what we display if we win or lose on the first roll. If that's happening, then we will display those special names for the rolls. Otherwise, we will simply display the sum of the roll to see if we match the point. So over here in the win and lose statuses, I need to put a condition there that checks if this is the first roll, and if it is the first roll, then we will display the dice sum, which is the special names. Otherwise, we will simply display the sum. So I'm going to use a ternary if statement. So after here, I will ask if the number of rolls equals 1. Then there's the question mark, and basically it says, now, if it's true, display this message. And if it is false, then it's the column there, then we'll display just the sum. So I'm just gonna copy this, and instead of dice sum, I will display the actual sum. So again, this is the ternary if statement. It basically says if the number of rolls equals 1, then display this message. Otherwise, displays the second message. And the same for the lose. if the number of rolls equals 1, so I'm just gonna call it here, if the number of rolls equals 1, then the syntax is a question mark, and that's the, if this is true, then display this message. Otherwise, which is the column, display just the sum instead of the dice sum. And that's all there is to it. So let's run it again. And you can see that I rolled 5 on the first roll, so we keep rolling, and 5 became my point. And then next time I rolled 10, so I didn't match my point, which was 5, so I still keep rolling. And then I rolled 7, which according to the rules is an instant loss. So let's try another game. So once again, I just rolled 3 on the first run, so I lost. Now I rolled 10, 10 became my point. I rolled 6 on the second one, so that's not 10, so I still kept rolling. And once again, I rolled 7, so I instantly lost. This time I rolled 8, that was my point. Then 11, I kept rolling, and then I rolled 8. I matched my point, so I won. And now a little longer, so I rolled 4, which was my point, then 8, then 12, and then once again I lost because I rolled 7. And finally, let's try this one, so I rolled 6, then 4, 5, and 11, but then I finally rolled 6 again, and I won. So everything is working as expected, so I hope you liked the video, and thanks for watching.